Alright, so I'm going to show you how to make a custom Slack emoji. Once you got Photoshop open, just go ahead and open up the image you'd like to turn into an emoji. Now the first thing I like to do when I'm working on an emoji is to crop the image down to a square. I think Slack will let you use any dimension of an image, but just with a square, I mean you're using all the pixels that are available to you. You kind of get the most real estate out of what they allow you to use. So there's a few ways to do that. I like to use, I think kind of the simplest way is to use this crop tool up here. So just go ahead and click on that, and then up here in the toolbar area, make sure you've got the 1:1 ratio, the square selected. And from there, you can just go ahead and click the corners of this kind of crop area and drag it down to kind of the size you'd like. And then let's see, I kind of like to use the arrow keys just to really focus in and narrow the image down to kind of where I exactly like it to fit within the square. So once you've got your image positioned within the square just how you want, go ahead and click enter, and the image will crop to that area. So if that's really all you'd like for your emoji, you're pretty much done. Just go to File and then Export and Export As. So from here you've got a few different image format options. I think Slack will take a PNG, a JPEG, or a GIF. I usually like to go with a PNG. One thing I know Slack does require is that their images need to be 128 kilobytes or less. So for this image, you'd need to go ahead and scale that down a little bit. See what 50% puts as 126, so just a little bit more. Then in the 45, and from there we should be good. So from there, all you have to do is click Export All and rename your image, save it, and you're good to go with your file. Now, one thing I usually like to do almost all the time if I'm going to make an emoji is kind of clear away the clutter or the background of whatever the focus of your emoji is going to be. So to start that, let's go ahead and zoom in. To zoom in, just if you hold the command button and push plus or minus, it'll zoom in and out on your image. And then go ahead and right click on, when you go to the layers pane, right click on the image and click duplicate layer. And the reason we're going to need a second layer is as we clear away kind of the background, we'll need something behind it to be empty, I guess. And in order for that to work, you need to have a second layer. So that second layer, that background layer, just go ahead and click this visibility thing, and that will hide it. So to clear away kind of this background clutter, the simplest tool to use for that, there's a number of ways, but the simplest tool is just with the eraser tool. So if you select that, you can just click wherever you want, and it will delete the pixels that are there. Now, to kind of make this a little easier, you might need to change the size of the tool that's erasing the pixels, so you can make that bigger or smaller to erase more pixels faster. Sometimes you really need to kind of get into the nooks and crannies of some image, so shrinking this down really small can be really helpful. If you want a quicker way to change the size, just the left and right angle brackets, those will increase and decrease the size of your little reticle there. For this particular image, I think what I'm going to use instead for most of the work to delete those pictures is this lasso tool. So what the lasso tool does is it lets you select kind of any part of the image, and then once you've got a piece of your image selected, anything you try to do to the image, it will only affect that area that's selected. So if I just click and drag the eraser tool around, you see it only erases the selected part. So I'll hit Command D to deselect that. There's a few lasso tool options. The one I'm going to go ahead and use is the magnetic lasso tool. And what that'll let me do is I'll just have somewhere I want to start, I'll click, and then if you just kind of follow. I'm not even clicking a button. Just follow and trace the outline of whatever it is you want to crop out. So I'll click right here in this corner. This will let you carefully select kind of the outline of whatever you want to trace. Go ahead and click on that first point that I created. So I've got this whole area selected. I'm not even going to use the eraser tool. If you just go up to edit and then clear, it'll clear whatever you've got selected. So let's go ahead and select and deselect, clear that out, and we'll do the same thing on this side over here. Now if you've got an area, so you can tell kind of the white color of the hair of this blimp and the background they're pretty similar in value, so the lasso tool is going to have a harder time figuring out kind of the natural outlines of whatever you're trying to trace. So this tool isn't perfect and isn't always going to work just how you want, but we'll use it here. So I'll just finish this one up, go to edit and clear, and there we go. I'm going to hit Command D to deselect that, and so now you can see that there's still kind of some pixels along the edge and around the corners of the image. So I'll just use the eraser tool to clean the rest of that up. So if I hit Command and the plus button, that'll let me zoom in. If I hold down the space bar and then click and drag, I can move around the image. So I'll just clean up these stray pixels here along the border of the image. I'll shrink down the left with just hitting the left bracket key, shrink down my reticle here to get rid of these little pixels along the edge. Just clean it up a little bit there. Okay, let me Command minus to zoom back out and grow the reticle with the right bracket tool key. Erase all these edge pixels there. Get the ones along the top there. Let's Command plus to go ahead and zoom in again. Then space bar and then drag to get to the area we want. And start cleaning up the edges of this again. So space bar drag to move around. There we go. All right, let's, there's some more area down there we can just clear out real quick too. Let's check the other side. Get rid of this stuff. And this picture is going to be so tiny as an emoji that even though I'm kind of erasing a little bit of the actual blimp, it's not going to be visible at the size at which people will see this picture. All right, and then so from here, now that again I've got the image kind of with the background gone, and now when it's displayed it will be transparent. Let me just show you the background image. So I'm just going to select Command A to select all and pick some random color, edit. So now that I've got this background layer selected, it's not going to touch the one I just edited. So I'm just going to go to edit and fill with the foreground color. So my foreground color is that color there. Click OK. Command D to deselect. So yeah, so now you can see that this layer, yeah, everything that I just cleared out is now transparent. So whatever background it's placed up again, you'll see right through it. So we'll make sure again this background layer is hidden before we save the image. Go to File, Export, Export As. And again, now that we do have a transparency to this image, we'll want to make sure this is a PNG and that your transparency is checked. So we're underneath kind of the threshold of what Slack has given us, and we can just go ahead and export this image. Let's see, baby blimp 2. And now your emoji PNG file should be ready to upload.